the Gentlementor.
Well, all right. So we're gonna jump in to these, and I have not seen all. I've only seen one of the questions.
Some of these they're not really questions. They're more like conversation starters.
Oh, okay.
It's not like yes or no kind of a deal.
Okay. So would it be one of those things where we want to contact that person and say, hey, we're not going to answer this without you in the conversation?
No.
No, okay.
That's not what they wanted. They wouldn't have asked us. No one said, I want you to answer this question, but please contact me directly.
Well, no, I'm just saying if they're conversation starters and not questions.
I'm just saying they're broad.
Broad.
It's not going to be yes or no answers.
All right. So let's. But
that's what we want. It's a podcast. We want to.
Okay, you're right. We don't want closed-ended questions.
Right.
So let's.
And what's your favorite color?
Let's take a moment and figure out why people don't. What is the reason for the? I mean, other than the fact that we're not widely world renowned, known all over the world for our wisdom and insight. Yes, for our wisdom and insight. What are the reasons what it might be that people don't have questions about their father or about fatherhood? Do they just not know what to ask? Do they just not know? I don't know.
That would be my first guess. I think it's such a broad, big, giant topic. People don't know what question to ask. I think that's reflected in the breadth of these questions. That these questions are broad because people don't really know the specific things they want to ask. It's kind of one of those weird OJT, on-job training things where it's like it's not until you're confronted with the problem that you realize you have a question to ask.
Right.
Might be some of it. Some of it's, the stuff we've talked about. Dude reluctance to admit that I might need some help.
Right.
People with kids don't generally want to ask questions because then that kind of suggests that maybe they don't know everything about it. And I think you made a great and salient point right up front, which is there are no experts. The great truth about children and childhood rearing is that there are no experts.
Right.
There are people with ideas and people with strategies, and some of those might work for you and some of them might not. But ultimately, you have to make the decisions. You have to have the intestinal fortitude to carry them out, and you're the one that has to sleep with them at the end of the day. So better make sure you're down with your strategy more than Dr. Spock.
Well, and I think having a strategy is the most important thing. And then being able to realize, hey, this strategy isn't working. I need to figure out if there's a different strategy that I can
retool. People are not often willing to retool. We kind of get into that sunk cost mythology of this, either this is what my dad and my mom and my grandpa did, or this is what I've been doing for all these years, and by golly, I'm not quitting now because, we just...
That was something that Adam Grant said today.
Oh, Adam Grant. Old Adam Grant. The guy that everybody I know follows.
He said it takes humility to consider information that contradicts your opinions. You're willing to concede that you might be wrong. It takes curiosity to actively seek evidence that challenges your views. You're eager to find out if you might be wrong. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, as a parent, it's like I don't want to be proven wrong by everyone. Anyone, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough deal.
So it's almost a place where we just like we notice where people are weak and we just attack those areas, not attack them, but attack the areas of weakness and go, okay, here's where we see a lot of parents fail or a lot of dads fail, and then we take that. So I don't know. I'm just exploring ideas.
That's what we're here for. That's what we do.
Okay, yeah.
We're here to explore ideas.
Let's roll with it. Question number one.
Explore some ideas. Go ahead. You've only got one. Let's get yours out of the way.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. So a writer and a listener of the Gentlementor asks.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Long-time listener, first-time caller says, "What things do I need to be doing as a single person to prepare for fatherhood?"
Thinking it over a lot.
What things do I need to be considering, looking at, or preparing for as a single person before I become a father?
If you're single and the first thing you need to be concerned about is your mate. That's what I would say. Your first concern would be that's the partner in this potential procreation should be on board, and should be something of a known quantity. One would hope that you would have an established relationship. I think it's one of the terrible dilemmas that a lot of people have faced over the last decades is the unwanted pregnancy leading to an unwanted marriage,
Right.
and that.
Right.
It's a double cancellation. Doesn't mean it won't work, but man, you've stacked the odds against yourself. Let's say it that way. Say it that way.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I think you better be concerned about who your spouse is going to be and that they share your values and things like that. It's great to go and meet someone and opposites attract and we get to learn all these different things about each other and we come to appreciate all these different things about one another's taste, but some of your stuff has to be the same. You got to have some of the same values and ideas, especially, man, if you haven't found conflict in your relationship, start talking about what you're going to do when you raise your kids. Because you'll find where you differ on things real quick.
Yeah.
That will lead to a lot of zesty conversation. Yeah, vet that other person. That's your main concern because that's your partner in having it and raising it. And sorry, I shouldn't call it, but in this day and age. The child and conceiving and raising.
Do you hear
the
they've
child.
done with it? And we don't have Charlie on here to help us or Adam, but did you hear that Great Britain has done away with the female and male vocalist or artist of the year award?
Really? No,
That
that's
is
great.
no more. That is no more. So it is now the
man.
vocalist of the year award or artist of the year.
That's tremendous.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but couldn't agree.
Yeah, and I never do that to you.
100%, I agree, and I will back up and then add to that because you have the meat of all the middle of the sandwich that works. Because yes, you need to figure out what it is as a parent that you want or wish not to do. And small things as like, punishment. Are you spanking? Are you not spanking? Are you grounding? Are you doing what are the things that you're going to do? What are those things? And then you need to settle on that as an individual. And then you need to look for that partner that agrees with those terms or at least has some, what am I looking for? Has some clarification onto how you can refine those a little bit better that you agree with, that doesn't go back on what you believe. And then because the worst thing about being a father or a parent at all is having your child play the two of you against each other. That is not what you want. And that's what happens. Exactly right. What you were saying about an unplanned pregnancy that leads to an unplanned marriage. You end up in that place where the child then can play against you two.
Failing to plan is planning to fail.
But if you plan to fail, was it really success? You planned? Anyway, so yeah, absolutely 100% right. I think it is, you have to decide within yourself, what is it and how I want to raise this child, how I want to go forward with punishment and raising them, however, all those little details about that, and then finding that person that aligns with your views. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
It's a darn shame is what it is. But a lot of folks never have any of these conversations. In the name of all that's holy, please don't wait until you're actually pregnant, getting ready to have a child to start talking about this.
Absolutely.
I got a new service I'm going to offer. I suggested a service I want to start offering a couple weeks ago doing church reviews. I'm going to add this to church reviews.
Okay.
I'm going to be what's that one thing you have when you're I can't think of the word for it, when you're in divorce, but you're not going to have a divorce. You're talking it out with a mediator. I'm going to be a date mediator.
Arbitrator.
I'm going to be a date betrayer. And I'm gonna I'm gonna go on dates on first dates with people, and I'm going to act as like a brokering agent, and I'm going to stop them from asking stupid questions. I'm going to make them ask tough questions. Why are you asking that?
Wait a minute.
That's not important.
I think you're onto something here.
Oh, I think I am too.
I think this is great. I mean, professional athletes, actors, vocalists, they've got agents.
The most I have so many conversations with so many people who are in terrible situations and circumstances.
Sure.
Almost all of them start with, "Well, we didn't think about it."
Yeah.
We didn't discuss it.
Well, now it's too
Look,
late.
if you have a relationship with a person, I don't care who they are, your mom, your kid, your dog, person down the street. If you don't have
busy
communication, you don't have a relationship. And so many relationships we have now are based on
so
zero
good.
communication.
Well,
Nobody talks.
They're based on how well you can kiss. That is not communication. That is not communication.
Please, put that thing away.
I have had the most precious thing my daughter has ever said to me was, I remember what you said, Dad. Some things are not worth having a conversation over text because you can't determine their tone.
You can't undo the damage.
Well, that too. You can't decipher tone. When you're talking to someone face to face, there's so much body language, tone, so many things that you can glean from the communication. And communication by text is not. That has got to be the lowest form. That's got to be the equivalent of cave drawings, in my opinion. It is absolutely the lowest form of text. But I think you're onto something. I think why not have a date agent or a mate agent?
How many times do you hear people complain after their dates that it
Way too many.
Oh, well, I'm here to make sure you get what you want. What'd you want out of this date? Are you going to give them that? You're not getting that. We're negotiating. What do you want now?
Right.
What will you give? What can he get? Can he get something? You're gonna do that?
I had that in a business meeting a few weeks ago when I was in Georgia. I had a friend of mine who set up a meeting with me and some other guys. And then at the end of the meeting, he was like, just exactly that. He was like, okay, did you get what you needed? What is the next step for you? What is the next step for you? We're looking at both of us going, okay, what is the next step for you guys to feel like you're on a motion to make progress on this relationship? And I was like, dude, I need you at every meeting for that, because that is incredible for someone just on the outside to be able to say, what do you need to feel like you got progress and you have a next step?
Right. And people will not have these conversations.
No.
People constantly leave dissatisfied because they're afraid to talk.
It goes back to the whole thing of everyone wanting to do it by themselves.
Here's what it is. People are in an emotionally charged state. When you're in an emotionally charged state, you cannot think clearly and you cannot speak clearly.
Or horny.
Emotionally charged state.
Okay, all right. I didn't realize
that was PG version.
I thought it was just chemistry. I didn't realize that was
love.
emotion.
We're in love.
Okay.
Well, we all know what being in love is when you're in love on the first date. Yeah, it's horny, but emotionally charged, Your Honor. Yeah. So you can't think straight and you can't talk straight, and all of your motivations are going the wrong way. What you need is a clear-headed individual there to represent you.
Right. And we're those guys. We're those guys.
Your relationship Sherpa. Right here.
We're the clear-headed individuals.
Call me Tenzing Norgay.
Oh my goodness, that's what cracks me up.
Okay, questions. Did we answer that question sufficiently?
I don't know.
What was that? What was the question?
I hope they feel like they got a good, decent answer out of that. All right.
What do you need to prepare for? Your spouse.
What do you need? Your spouse.
Make sure
Absolutely.
you've got the right spouse. That's your teammate. That's your partner. Those kids are going to grow up and they're going to start playing games with you. You better have somebody you can count on.
You are one. You have to be a united front.
United front. There's nothing more important
than a united front. You have to be together on that. So, yes, you have to have those conversations beforehand, before you have kids, before you get married. And if it's a deal breaker, you shouldn't be ashamed of saying, "Hey, this is a deal breaker."
It's the rest of your life and your kids. If it's a deal breaker, break the deal. Walk away now, not later when you're miserable and go, "I got to get out of this. I don't know what I'm going to do."
Come on, and have those conversations. First of all, you're going to have those conversations, and maybe it's not on the first date. Wait a few and then go, okay, hey, are you thinking about kids? What do you think about kids? What's your thoughts on kids? Oh, well, I'm thinking about a couple, but okay, well, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on how we rear them? What are your thoughts on how we discipline them? What are your thoughts on this? Get to know that information. And,
there's a couple I know.
And be flexible, I think.
Where you can and where you can't, don't. But get what you came for.
Know what those flexible places are.
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short. This is a big problem. Is people don't know their value.
Yeah, right.
People are way too willing to sell themselves out to get a little bit of acceptance and approval, and this is especially if you want to talk about like
and
high
for
school,
men-
junior high stuff. This is
And for men, we're willing to sell ourselves out for what's going on down here. Yeah,
whatever's available,
Yeah,
whoever's available. Yeah. So no, the unified front is the deal maker breaker of parenthood. If you can learn this, I'll give you some free tricks. If we got time after all these questions, here's a free trick right now. Make sure you and your wife are on the same page.
Oh,
And not
And
on
you-
day one, on day minus 121. Back at the beginning.
and let's not just limit this to child rearing. Make sure you're on the same page about family, about immediate family, about external family, and that this
The priority hierarchy.
exactly because I've seen marriages ruined over, a wife's dad who's been overly involved in the marriage.
In-laws.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you are taking the place of the husband, and that is not your place.
This is priceless. Set a perimeter.
Exactly.
This is me, my wife, and my kids. In-laws, or my parents and her parents. Next ring out, baby. At least next ring out. And you better look at those echelons that are before there. Who's first, wife or kids? Boy, there's a marriage destroyer because 90% of people get that answer wrong.
Yep.
Because everybody thinks kids come first. Those kids are not 50% of you or 100% of you. They're your kids. Your wife is flesh of your flesh and bone of your bone. She's your partner. She stack up number one, right after Jesus. Jesus, wife, kids, everybody else.
Yeah. Know the hierarchy.
You get that kids and wife thing mixed up, it'll wreck you. It wrecks everybody that falls for that. Those
Husband.
kids can't be first.
Husband, wife, kids, dog, cat, mouse, cheese. You have to get those in the right order. You ready? You ready?
There's my unpopular opinion for the week right
Joe
there.
McGee. Joe McGee, right there. There's Joe McGee.
Joe
That
McGee.
was it. There was it. Husband, wife, kids, dog, cat, mouse, cheese.
Yep. Joe McGee
yeah.
was the 3 rule guy too. Had 3 rules. You have 3 rules for the kids to know.
Yep.
This is what will get you punished.
Yep.
Simple. But we don't want to overwhelm you with. I've got another question. This is a 2-parter.
Wait a minute. But
we're not done? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if you're on a united front, doesn't that should, well, that kind of puts a lot of the questions out, a lot further out. But anyway, I don't skip that. Go ahead.
Are you having people calling in questions secretly?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm good.
Are you taking secret questions?
Let's go. There's
Okay,
questions
so
in my
this
head there.
this is a question from an unknown person that we don't know. We've never ever heard from. In 2 parts, because why make it simple?
Well, because I know who it is. He's probably asking the question. It's in 2 parts. I know who it is.
If you don't, you shall soon figure it out. I don't
know.
suspect it will remain veiled
I
for
don't know.
long.
I don't know.
Who is more responsible for teaching femininity to girls, the mother or the father? And inversely, who is more responsible for teaching masculinity to boys, mother or father? You kind of spoke to some of this a few weeks ago. We kind of started to kind of get into this.
Yeah. And I think I had a conversation with someone about this a little bit. That it's a very tricky kind of, I almost want to go, it's kind of like
It is.
figure 8. Yeah. That everything, because this, when
It's reciprocal.
right. And there's no good place to start, because it goes back to what you were saying earlier, which came first, the chicken or the egg. It's like, well, what came first, the father or the daughter, the son or the mother? It's like, I don't know, but you have to start somewhere and go, okay, this is what we know is what's happening, and so we have to plan and make our actions accordingly.
You got to start somewhere.
Right. You got to start somewhere. So it typically, and I'm going to speak in general terms, because
Please do.
Generally, this is the way things happen. It's not always the way it is, because we know that there are dynamics of 50% of children are living in a single parent home versus, two parent home. So but typically the son is a mama's boy, the daughter is a daddy's girl, and so the dad teaches. He teaches what he teaches the son is how he treats the wife. Is this what we talked about? How we talked about that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly how you
That's
started.
what I thought. What he teaches the son is not direct. It's what the son recognizes the dad talks or treats the mom about. And so that's how the son learns, I guess you would say, masculinity in a very broad sense. But yet the dad invests a lot in the daughter on how she should be treated by another man. And so then those tables kind of turn and reciprocate to, the mom has a mama's boy, but then the dad teaches this. And again, there are things for a single parent home that's, that dynamic changes a lot, and we have to kind of consider that as well.
We're probably getting shadow banned because you said something there a minute ago.
Did I say?
Oh,
Somebody showed me a meme the other
Mama's,
day that was
Mama's,
like,
Mama's boy. That's what I don't think I don't think you're allowed to say that on YouTube.
someone showed me a meme the other day that said my daughter called me birth parent.
Nice.
And so I called them financial drain. I was like,
financial dependent.
Yes,
Yes.
If we're gonna be that politically correct on it,
You don't make my nipples sore, just my wallet. I think I agree with that. The figure eight thing makes sense. The dad is directly modeling masculinity to the boy. He is also modeling how a man should treat a woman to the girl. So he's saying something about femininity to the girl. He's saying something about masculinity to the boy. Mom does the opposite thing. She models directly what femininity is to the daughter, but she is demonstrating how a woman treats a man to the son.
Right.
She's there seeing, they see both of those relationships. And the reason that there's a lot of different dynamic there is because one of those dynamics in a single parent home, you're missing one of those dynamics.
Right.
And then what happens is when that young person potentially goes out into a relationship is they've only been informed by one side of that relationship. So they maybe not, don't have to be, could be, tend toward whichever side of that they were, whatever was modeled for them more distinctly. So there's that. Yeah, I think we're in agreement on there. So there you go for that caller with the two-part question. You've been answered.
Well, I don't
thoroughly.
I wouldn't feel as a caller who asked that question. I wouldn't feel confident in like, oh, thank you, you answered all these questions. This question for me. That
hey, you're working against our cause here. You got to make people feel. Now this is
come on, man.
You can't get better answers than these here answers. These are Showdog answers here.
It's tough. I don't know. It's tough to really just put your thumb on top of.
It's a broad question.
Right. It is a broad question, and there are so many dynamics. There are so many things that, like, okay, if you're a single parent home, and you've got children, and let's say you've got a son or a daughter or multiple of each, and you're a single parent, how does that dynamic play into teaching that masculine or feminine area in them? There are other people, I think, that can play into that. And let's not move out of the realm of God's grace for you to be able to do wonderful things and teach those kids. I don't ever want to discount those homes.
No, and I think just like you said, God does bring people in. There are uncles and grandfathers. There are neighbors and cousins and people that step into those roles. It doesn't have to be the bio dad, so to speak, the birth parent, but somebody be in that role. Yeah,
exactly.
Back to you, whichever direction you're in.
I don't know which direction, but
These are great answers tonight, by the way. I like it. You go full force, and then all of a sudden, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm full of shit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
I'm no expert.
I don't think okay, so the question was, whose responsibility is to teach masculinity to the sons and femininity to the women, to the daughters?
Yeah. Is it more the mothers or fathers? And I think we both feel that it's kind of an equal thing, that they're teaching different aspects.
Right.
Mom teaches the girl how to be a woman. But dad is teaching the girl what she should expect from a man.
Yes.
This is how a man should treat me.
Because then she becomes the mom that teaches a son on what to expect.
Right. That's your figure eight. So it flip-flops and it rolls over.
That's your figure eight. There was someplace I was going with this before
you should, because I'm waiting.
You took me off on this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. I did it.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
No, mom is your direct model for the girl, but she's seeing the behavior, how the man and the woman function, how the man should treat the woman. And the son sees the dad and goes, "Oh, this is how a man should be." And then he sees the mom and dad and goes, "Oh, this is how a man should treat the woman. This is how the relationship works."
Thank you. And that's where I was going to go with this. Is now I remember that goes back to the old adage that we have all heard, that things are not really taught as much as they are caught.
Hear, hear.
Yes. And so if we display those things in a proper manner, so we treat our wives as men, we treat our wives the way they should be treated, then those key characteristics of masculinity can be caught. Those key characteristics of femininity and what a woman should expect of a man and what a man should expect of a woman are caught because we're displaying those in a way that is appropriate and done well.
And balanced.
There you go. That's what it's.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's almost like someone had a really good plan when they designed it.
I think they did. And
I feel that way too.
And then all of a sudden we got to this thing where we're like, "Hey, let's take prayer out of school." And then we were like, okay, let's do that.
You just turned into your dad.
And now let's
Obama.
Let's have pronouns where we're not he or she, we're they or them. And
foreigners. It's drunk uncle. Obama.
But that's the thing. These questions come from people who are probably products of people who've been fighting the system, or let's not say fighting the system, fighting the original plan that was laid out in history, that things were designed to flow and work and not be perfect, but to work out for the best opportunity for people. And now we've completely screwed that up by thinking, okay, let's grab this and put this in here.
Yeah, we don't have to do it that way.
Let's grab him and put him with him and her with her, and let's make this and let's give those kids. And then we're like,
these are all social constructs. None of it's real. Really? Okay. Well, look at the world we're living in now.
Exactly.
But again, the situation and the setting was set up to be confusing by design.
Right.
So nobody can really tell what's causing it. You're probably going to get shadow banned over this.
I'm probably.
But you know what? This and Mama's Boy are getting you shadow banned.
You know what? I don't care.
You're getting a strongly worded tweet from Jack Dorsey, mister.
Jack, bring it, Jack.
Here's a question from some fellow podcasters who shall remain nameless, but we received a question from another podcast.
Excellent. Let's talk about them. Let's go.
That's what I thought.
And talk about this.
I said we should do a podcast thing sometime. They said yes, they'd love to do that.
Okay, great.
And then I read their question and went, "What? This is an episode. This isn't a question.
Okay.
What's the hardest part of fatherhood?" I think you have a great answer for this. I think you have the best short 2-sentence answer for this. But
me, I do. I have the best answer for this.
Yes, you've said it on several episodes. It's your go-to. It's your go-to parenting advice. Parenting is an 18-year-long
lesson in learning to let go.
Letting go is the hardest part.
Letting go is the hardest part.
It's not really, but it is really hard. It's a really hard part. There are lots of really hard parts of parenthood, fatherhood.
The hardest part of fatherhood is, I think, coming to the realization that your child is an investment, not an ownership. But when we realize, and let me tell you something, when I heard that, because
let me tell you something.
No, let me tell you. When I come to the realization that parenthood is an 18-year-long lesson learning to let go, and then I heard the thing of parenting is an investment and not ownership, I was relieved. And I think that should relieve most parents to be able to say, okay, so what I put in them and you think about that in the stock market. When you put money into the stock market, you don't have control over how it performs in the market.
Right.
You just hope it performs well. You provided the things that it helps to make a performance well, and then if it doesn't, you don't. It's not an ownership. You don't own the company.
Right.
You just have an investment in it.
You move your money.
You move your money. You take it out. You realize it. And I'm not saying that we're going to.
You can't do that with kids. Don't do this with your kids.
You shouldn't abandon your kids and remove your.
That's where the analogy breaks down.
Just keep pumping money into that child, and hopefully
you
one
go
day...
invest in some neighbor's kid that's doing well.
But that was a release for me to realize, okay, all right, it's just not an ownership thing; it's an investment thing, and I hope that they do well. And I think that's where a lot of kids disappoint their parents, and a lot of kids I don't want to say intentionally. A lot of kids come to the place where they disappoint their parents because they feel like they're being owned by them, and so they push against that ownership, against that dictatorship mindset, and completely will move towards all the terrible things that we don't want to do just in spite of that.
When fleeing the nest requires breakout skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
if they have to learn to pick the lock to flee the nest.
A lot of parents are,
you've got a prison and not a school. Yeah.
Those kids represent their second vicarious chance. All the things they didn't do, all the things they failed at, the goals they didn't make, they're going to push those kids through. Yeah. You're going to do what I didn't do, kind of a thing. So yeah, it's a poisonous thing, as is favoritism is a very poisonous thing in parenting that I think is probably overlooked. I think there's a lot of biblical precedent for that.
Yeah.
That favoritism leads to strife in a family. That parents need to be careful. I'm not. Let's be. Can we be real honest here?
Please.
Be real honest.
Let's be real honest.
You're probably going to get along with one of your kids better than you get along with the other one, and it's going to feel like
you're going to get shadow banned over this.
It's going to probably, but just by my family. It's not that you love one child more than the other. You just may have a better rapport with one child than the other.
Right.
So it may feel that way. Do your best not to let that show. Kind of like that unified front thing. It's not that you and your wife always have to agree. It's that when you disagree, you need to do it in private, where there are no witnesses. So you and her can negotiate and have the fight in private, decide what the party line is going to be, and then you present that to the children. Together, unified.
So what you're saying is parenting should be more of marital counseling than it is parenting skills.
If parents had their stuff together, then kids would be all right, yeah. But parents go into it, again, emotional duress, Your Honor. We're not thinking clear. We're not talking clear. We're kind of stirred up emotionally, and we romance, and we're in love, and we want to have these kids.
Right.
And we don't think of the practical thing.
Well, and it's so easy. It's so easy as a parent to say, well, your mother or your father said this, or he thinks this, or she thinks that. It's so easy to do that.
Don't play those games. Don't play those games. Even if you're divorced, do not play those games with your kids. Yes. That's poison.
I would venture out to say that 50 to 75% of child rearing issues all have to do, going back to that first question, all issues have to do with being on a united front. If we could just be on a united front and have those conversations away from the children, have those conflicts and differences, because you're going to have those conversations, you're going to have conflicts, you're going to have differences.
Absolutely. It's all about how you do it.
But let's not talk about them in earshot of the children.
Have a plan even for that. Have a plan for how you're going to communicate.
Right. And this whole thing about, like, when parents say they don't want to answer, and they say, well, go ask your mother. You're training your children to pose a parent against the other that way. Well, Dad said to ask you, and you have the final word in this particular thing. And I would say 50 to 75% of child rearing issues could come down to being on a united front and taking those things back behind closed doors.
Yep.
And not exposing your spouse to the children as, well, she did this, or he did this, or your father this, or your mother this.
Love covers a multitude of sin,
But
don't sell your partner out.
You are one and the same. Absolutely.
Don't sell your partner out.
Gentlementor.